After reaching the #1 seed in early February after going on a 21-6 stretch, the LA Clippers have spiraled down to the 4th seed and 6.5 games back from #1. Since the All-Star break, they are 8-10 and searching for answers as to why the ship has started to sink.
So identity, for us, it's got to be toughness, which means physicality, mentally and physical toughness. A high-powered offense, we can score a lot of different ways. And we got to have a defensive mindset. And so right now, do we have an identity? I think, yeah, we're soft. That could be an identity.
There's a lot to blame for the recent lack of success, including their front court, James Harden, and even Ty Lue, but the biggest issues for me is their poor defense overall. Since the All-Star break, they are 28th in defensive rating at 118.7. Even further, Harden has the second worst defensive rating since the break in the entire NBA at 122.6. A combination of poor effort, lack of focus, and being undisciplined has highlighted Harden's defensive play in the past month. Terrence Mann is right behind him at third worst with a 121.5 rating. They've given up 16.3 fast break points per game, which is the 6th most in these last 18 games. And they're also 28th in rebounding in that span. They sometimes lack simple defensive IQ, like the help guy not having his back to the basket and not seeing both the ball and his man, which I'll get into this deeper in this video. And some could point to their offense as another issue, and rightfully so. They're only 23rd in pace, and I think they should play a little faster since they have Harden, but Kawhi and PG's play styles might accommodate to playing slower. But this isn't that big of an issue to me, and offensively is, in my opinion, the least of their worries at this time, because they have too much firepower for that to continue to carry over, so I do expect that side to improve. But over the past 2 games, they have lost to 2 inferior teams at home, which has left fans questioning to what has happened over the past 50 days or so. It started off with a matchup against the Embiid-less 76ers, who have gone 13-25 without him. After 2 quick fast break buckets by Tobias Harris, Ty Lue decides to blitz the 1-5 pick and roll, which leaves PG stranded by himself on a big, and the rebounding issues, like I mentioned, show up as they give up 3 offensive rebounds in 1 possession. Then just watches Tobias Harris walk into an easy pull-up. Next possession, they decide to drop Zubac in a pick and roll not involving Maxey, but eventually switch the screen with the guards, and Kawhi's back is not facing the baseline, so he can't see Zubac's man wide open in the corner, and a few rotations later, PG gets beat to the hoop for a bucket. The very next possession, here's the soft blitz on Maxey, and watch the lazy defense and contest from Harden. Then the next possession after that, Harden is giving 0 effort on the help, and Oubre gets another easy look. Here's a blitz again, and usually the weak side would tag the roller, which is Kawhi, but T-Man overhelps, leaving Buddy Hield open for a 3. Then the next possession after that, why is Zubac helping this way when 1, Harris rejects the screen towards the Clippers' help, and 2, Mo Bamba just pops, which is kinda easier for Zubac to guard, but he does it anyways and is lazy on his closeout. On to the second quarter, the same defensive lapse I mentioned, Tice does not see the ball on his man, and loses Paul Reed and gives up a layup. LA runs a double screen and Reed traps PG, and he throws a soft skip pass, and off a turnover gave the Sixers their 9th straight made field goal. I said how I was least concerned with their offense because they're too talented, and having Harden going downhill out of the pick and roll like this will still be very effective. The Clippers tried a lot of matchup hunting with Kawhi, but the Sixers did a good job at trapping him on screens to throw off the rhythm of the offense. But this drop coverage is so harmful to their defense when Zubac is really not a rim protector and is not fast on his feet to even defend these pick and rolls consistently. I think this defense would benefit a lot from running more zone to disrupt the rhythm of the games when the regular coverages are getting shaken up like this. Another example of the poor discipline that the Clippers show, PG has not once positioned himself to see the ball and where his man is, so Tobias Harris smartly cuts right in front of him for the jumper. I know I sound like a broken record, but here's the 2 sides of why I feel like Zubac and his drop coverage is really hurting the Clippers. Maxey could have taken this midi, but that quick hezzy is just enough to get past for the layup. Then here, Maxey rejects the screen and hits the roller for the layup. The next issue defensively comes into play at the start of the 4th in James Harden. You see they're switching everything involving guards, but on this next screen, Powell doesn't communicate and the Sixers slip the screen, leaving Harden in no man's land, forcing the Clippers into rotation. Next, Plumlee is in the action, so they're blitzing the screen and another slip happens. But Powell is supposed to stay attached to Martin on the slip and trust that Plumlee is going to pick up Payne at the top of the key, but he instead passes him off, which leads to a 3-on-2 for Philly for an open look again. This is how that last play was supposed to be defended. The trap up top and the weak side defender tags the roller until Plumlee can get back. Next, a good closeout in rotations, but Harden eventually gets beat off the dribble. Philly ended up opening this lead to 21 and winning this game by double digits. This game showed the issues with Ty Lue's scheme and the execution of it from the Clippers, and the next day things didn't get much better. On the second leg of a back-to-back, the Pacers came in from the jump with a clear approach of how they wanted to exploit the Clippers' defense. For the first 10 possessions of the game, Indiana involved Zubac in a pick and roll. The Clippers started in that drop coverage just like the Sixers game, and Halliburton and Miles Turner abused it. The lack of rim protection Zubac brings and the effort the perimeter guys have to fight through screens does not help this coverage at all to be beneficial. They then resorted to PJ Tucker to enable switching. This is a better move if the guys you're depending on isn't PJ Tucker. He's just physically not there anymore to be depended on consistently against good offenses. This was just an all-around bad defensive game from the Clippers and really showed every element of how bad this team is on that side of the floor. Like, there's no reason for TJ McConnell to even get to spots like this against some of the Clippers defenders. There's just poor help, bad rim protecting, and overall low effort during a lot of this game. They were getting beat on simple straight line drives when it came down to a one-on-one situation. So in the second half, things honestly got a lot worse. You see they blitzed that Turner screen now, but man isn't rotating and Turner gets an easy 3. I'm not sure if all 5 Clippers were on the same page and knew that they weren't in drop because of man's reaction, and a few possessions later Zubac stays in drop and Harden is late on a rotation to cover the popper. This was the start to a bunch of lazy, unethical defense led by James Harden, as on an inbounds a few plays later, Harden is just in his own world and gives up a very much avoidable 3. Then in the fourth quarter, I don't know if Ty Lue wanted to counter McConnell's paint pressure by just leaving him open, but Zubac does that and he hits the 3. Then the very next possession after that off a made free throw, Zubac even gives TJ that same space and he goes right past him and at 6'1" finishes over the 7' center. Then when all else fails, Ty Lue goes small and leaves his guys mismatch onto defenders they have no business being on. I can only imagine the frustration Clipper fans have had recently watching these guys every night because it's just low effort, one-dimensional lazy hoops against every level of talent in the league. This team is a long way from finding their identity defensively, and that's not what you want with around 10 games left until the playoffs when you're finally healthy for once and have high expectations to finally capitalize on that. I still have a slimmer faith that the Clippers figure it out because that Western Conference is a gauntlet and they have the potential to make it out and contend for a championship. Let me know in the comments what you guys think is wrong with this squad. Appreciate y'all for watching and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.